are you? What are you known for? Because it's quite a bit.
I don't like. Oh God, I hate that
Oh, well,
question.
do just a little bit of it for us, and then we'll get to our questions. So.
I'm a Husky Mill model. I do a lot of print work in Eastern Europe.
Print work in Eastern Europe. No, but seriously, within the Tea Party movement, you've done speaking. I believe you spoke at the convention.
I'm like their media guy. I go in there, and I predicted that this is what was going to happen at the very beginning, that the left and its understanding of Alinsky, I call it critical theory on steroids. It's what the left does. It destroys individuals. I predicted that they would take deep offense to the fact that these people wanted to talk about first principles, founding fathers, all that type of stuff. That's all code word for the stuff that they're completely against.
Sure.
And so that the way that they were going to destroy them was to call them racist, and they tried to do it at the very beginning, and it failed miserably with the MSNBC Contessa Brewer thing.
Right.
And they periodically arise, and they continue to do it, and I come back and I punch back against the media, and the media has a love-hate relationship with me because it's kind of tough love. I beat the crap out of them, and then they do profiles on me, and they try and say kind of nasty things.
What are some of the controversial things they've tried to pluck out and cherry pick to make you to try to character?
The Acorn story,
right.
like there were upwards of 10 videos, of which one Acorn office didn't help aid and abet the establishment of a prostitution ring. One in Los Angeles, a guy by the name of Felix Harris, who we said is their employee of the year, at least in my estimation. And we we did, and 7 months later they come back and they said, wait, they kept hammering, these tapes are heavily edited. Propaganda said over time, people with a sense of fury, like, oh my God, those tapes were heavily edited. Duh, all television is edited. There was a theme song, there was a title graphic, the time was condensed to show the most important
and
thing.
You think it's okay
and you'll do that.
You think it's okay for them to do that editing?
Well, yes, but when they came to me with the thing, I said, you're going to be held to a different standard than MSNBC, NBC, ABC. You're going to be held to a different standard because you're going against the narrative.
Now, how about some of the
and so I said, give me the full audio and the full transcripts, and I looked at it, I read it, we put it out there, and so anybody that wanted to think that it was nefariously edited to put words into their mouths would look at it and would be able to read. For the longest time, John Podesta, Eric Bollert, the Salon, the critics conspicuously ignored the fact that we gave the transcripts because they knew that we didn't put words in their mouths. But if they kept repeating over and over and over and over, it's conspicuous that it's severely edited, it would have the net effect of causing
people believing it.
people believing
now,
it.
What about some of the more controversial aspects of the Tea Party movement that have come up? We were at the convention. We heard a lot of talk there about birther issues, as it's being called in the media.
Yeah. Well,
what's your feeling on that?
First of all, a controversial thing I'll say is I don't think that somebody questioning Barack Obama's mysterious past and the fact that he's kept so many aspects of his background from us and his
and what questions do we want answered?
Oh, I'm answering it. I was the guy who confronted the speaker at the National Tea Party on his bringing up the birther thing with his prime speaking slot. So I
remember that.
I got slighted for it, so I'm not sure what to say about that.
Sure.
So I do not endorse that. I believe that this group, the Tea Party movement, has a winning argument. It has the issues on its side, and it has the Constitution on its side. I think that's enough. I think we've gone wayward from the Constitution in this country, and I don't care. I don't care about all that other stuff. This is a place for periods and exclamation points, not big question marks that can divide us.
Right. So you think you can criticize Obama on the substance of his current administration as opposed to...
That's my primary. I don't think it's wrong to start piecing together his background and to try and find some of the original documents on the guy. I don't have a problem with them looking into what he did in Indonesia or what he did in Afghanistan when he went there.
Do you think there's anything to look for there?
I think that we have a right to look at. He basically was elected on an Oprah Winfrey concocted media PR Hollywood, stream of likability and selective editing. And so
you don't think it was actually in terms of the debate between him and McCain?
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. A matter of fact, it was conspicuously absent. Whenever somebody
That's a big statement to say that the American voting public, who, on the right has a media outlet that is nearly ubiquitous for that entire party, and on the left has many myriad ones. It's a big statement to make to say that the American voting public would be...
ABC, CBS, and NBC, the New York Times, the Los Angeles Times, CNN, and MSNBC, all of Hollywood, all acted as a protector of him. They coveted him. They treated him with kid gloves, to say the least. And they dictated to the new media, you're not allowed to touch that. You're not allowed to touch that either.
Right.
You're not allowed to touch that. That's not the job of the press. It's the press's job to be skeptical, to be asking the hard questions you're asking me right now.
Sure.
They didn't ask the hard questions. The second Sarah Palin announced that she was running that day, they didn't give her a honeymoon. They went after her, and they went after her family at the exact same moment.
Do you think that asking her...
The exact same moment that they're grilling her, he had been on the campaign trail for a year, and when people were given that sit-down interview with him, they asked questions like, so tell us what it's like to be the first, this historic candidacy. Everything was built into the press's desire to craft the Camelot to mythology.
But again, he still had made long, arduous speeches about highly complicated issues regarding foreign policy through domestic race issues, and
speeches are speeches. I mean, Hollywood could concoct a person who could do speeches. The press had an obligation to grill a guy that we knew almost nothing about, and who spent his formative years in radical circles in Hyde Park in Chicago, at Columbia University, and at Occidental,
and of course
where we know nothing about
on the campaign trail. He also appeared regularly on Fox News.
I don't think he was on regularly on Fox News, but I don't think regularly.
So did Fox News fail to do their job during Obama's campaign?
Well, they certainly scrutinized him. I'm not saying they didn't scrutinize him, but that's channel 360 on my DirecTV dial. That's one channel.
That's viewed more than MSNBC, Headline News, and CNN combined.
I understand, but that's cable news. ABC. The way that the left and right state concocts Fox News is it is one, and the left wants to shut it down. It goes into an apoplectic fit that it even exists.
The other news networks came up to make sure that all the news networks were in the press pool for the White House in defense of Fox News, though. A lot of the statements...
This is Right State?
Yeah, well, a lot of the statements
This
you're
is
making...
Right State?
That's Wright State University out of Dayton, Ohio. Wright Brothers.
Right.
Yeah. Like WR.
Right, I know what Right State is.
Yeah, well...
Okay, so
I just mean, but a lot of the things you're making are really dubious. They're big claims, and they're dubious.
Fox News tends to be the exception to the rule. But ABC, CBS, and NBC, and the New York Times, and the Washington Post, with rare exception, did everything they could. To say that the standard that was applied to McCain and Palin was the same one that was applied to Barack Obama, that doesn't pass the smell test. If you can say that with a straight face.
So what do you, since he did receive a majority of the electorate's vote, what do you think you're saying about the American public?
I think that the American people was not given enough information. That's what I'm saying about the American public. They were not given enough information. When the left and the media crafted a narrative that said certain things are out of line, they weren't given the full story.
And what information should they have been given?
And they wanted to be part of history and crossed their finger that he would be a uniter and not a divider.
What information should the public have been given?
Well, I certainly think they should have looked more into his past and looked. I mean, this is a media-savvy guy.
Anything specific?
Well, I'm answering your question. This is a media savvy guy whose ability to speak at a public audience is part of his ascendancy. And he's only in his late 40s, so in his 20s and his 30s, this is an era in which there are a lot of videos. There is conspicuously scrubbed from his history are those speeches. We don't have any information from the 1990s and the early zeros of speeches. It's only this.
But you can't offer anything specific.
There's what? Yes, I can. Naked Emperor News is an amazing who finds the audio and the video that show. He says that we need a radical redistribution, redistributive justice, all these code words in academia where you're being completely overwhelmed. When you graduate, come back to me 5 years later when you try and get a real job, okay? Because right now you're being indoctrinated in theory. Barack Obama's the...
You haven't offered anything. I'm asking you. You're saying had the voting public...
I'm answering your question. They didn't give enough. They didn't investigate.
Did Fox News?
What? Yes, they did.
What information, if the voting public would have had, did they not have that would have made them elect Barack Obama?
I think that if they understood the very nature of black liberation theology and the Marxist origins of black liberation theology, and that he spent 20 years working with that guy and his theology and Father Flegger's theology.
That was in the press.
Wait. Stop putting words into my mouth.
Oh, I'm not.
You are. You're
black liberation stuff came out in the public. He had to give a speech on that.
Father Flegger and Reverend Wright and Bill Ayers and that entire Hyde Park crowd and the lack of evidence of the professors that he hung out with. We don't know what classes he took at Columbia. My suspicion would be, and I'd bet you a lot of money, that if you looked at the classes he took and his associations and his past, you would find out not that it's anything spooky other than he is a Marxist. He is completely soaked in the postmodern, post-structural academy that beat the living crap out of my head, and I'm still trying to wash that crap out of my hair.
Well, I'll say one more thing and I'll let you have the last word, okay? You're pointing to things that did come out during the campaign quite a lot. Bill Ayers.
On Fox News!
Bill Ayers, Reverend Wright.
Yes.
And then your other implication is that if the public would have known about these other things that I can't really think of.
The American public is starting to see that he's not a moderate person, that he's surrounding himself with radicals, that he said, I don't want to be involved in any special interest. I'm not going to get involved with any lobbyists. The people who got him elected, the SEIU, Andy Stern is on record saying, I spent hundreds of millions of dollars to get this guy elected. SEIU and ACORN, or member of HCAN. HCAN was the architect of the healthcare thing. ACORN and SEIU were out there community organizing and behaving like thugs against those that would disagree with them. This type of thuggery is unacceptable in the United States.
Think that's how he won the majority of American voters?
That's not what I said.
I'm asking.
I believe that he deceived the American people, and and I believe that the media aided and abetted in a very blatant and obvious deception.
Okay, thank you very much. I do appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.